evening. This is Dr. Curry.
This is Coby Owens.
And welcome to The Source. Before we get started, I do wish our other co-host well. She's not feeling well today, but we were praying that she will get better and feel better. But, I have not heard of any shootings in the city. Doesn't mean it's not happening. It's just that we tried to investigate and look and see if there were any found, and there weren't any. But there was one interesting story that I do want to talk about, and that's the woman found stabbed to death in the park. Do you know anything about that?
Yeah, so over in Kosciuszko Park around 7:30 Sunday morning, they found a body, and they don't know if the actual incident took place there or if the body was placed there after, but it was a body of a 59-year-old woman that was found early in the morning.
Now, I know we're not really investigative reporters, but do you think that was she homeless, or do you have no information?
They haven't released any information about that. There's, of course, speculation from the community, but nothing definitive as of this point. So again, hopefully some more information comes out as they conduct the investigation.
And this woman, she was an African-American woman as well?
I believe so.
Yeah. See, I guess the reason why I'm asking these questions is because I'm trying to get my head wrapped around the fact there's not much information out in the public, and yet this is very significant. A person is found dead. We're not sure whether or not the person was killed there or dropped off there. But usually the cops will say we need as much information as possible. People may have, the things on their houses where they can show cameras of people coming and going from the park. Nothing is out in the public, and I just don't understand why.
Mm-hmm. And again, for me, it's the investigation side of it and getting more information out. We have a bunch of cases that we've talked about on this show that still has not been any updates on how the investigation is going, where they're at in that point, or if they're still looking for someone at that point.
It makes me wonder sometimes whether or not people care about anything more than buildings and budgets. Humanity still matters. And this woman, 59 years old, found dead, that family, it hurt. And to bring closure sometimes to things is to know that we have found who did this, or we're properly investigating. But I guess people in this city and I don't know, I guess the police department feel if we keep it quiet, then we'll be able to solve the problem in private. But I just don't think it's working. And I don't know. So I'll just leave it there. You have anything else on that?
Nothing else on that one.
Well, let me turn our attention, and first let me just say to the Nix family, I happen to know the Nix family very, very closely. Shelly Nix, who is a very, very strong member and supporter of the East Zion Fair Church family and her family. I heard what happened last weekend, and it was really sad for her to be on Governor Prince Avenue and literally had a car accident. Do you have any details on that?
Yeah, so young woman, not too much older than me, who's very known in the community. She was a Delta as well too. Yeah. Unfortunately passed away. But the issue that I have with this, it was a car accident. There was a flatbed that was sitting on the side of the road. It was not pulled into the gated yard that it should have been in. And this is something, it's not new, right? People have complained about that company for many of years, but they've also complained about other car companies that are up and down Governor Prince that park their tow trucks on the side of the road. There's no flags, there's no lights on them. It's very hard to see, especially at nighttime, coming across South Bridge as well too. Or coming across 11th Street Bridge, there's one that sticks out sometimes there as well too. Again, it's a huge safety hazard, and I truly want to know, has the auto collision shop, Elmore Auto Collision Shop, who's had this truck out on the road for years now, always parks it out there. Have they received any fines, any tickets for illegally parking it on the outside.
And probably not, because if they did, they would not be doing it. But they did. Well, does the police department drive through, whether it be Wilmington, the county? Do they drive through and see people illegally park? Especially that's a safety hazard. That's beyond just having a regular car.
So the police are always up and down Governor Prince.
Yeah.
I always see county police pulling people over, giving them tickets, especially coming into the city. We know county police were so bored one night that they came into the city of Wilmington and executed Lamont Moses when they were supposed to be working the county side of Governor Prince, but somehow all the way down here in Riverside, that still is Governor Prince technically, but they were so bored that night they came into the city to do some work, and we know that they continue to do that as well too. So again, they're there. They have multiple cars stationed up and down Governor Prince almost every night. So again, I know they've had to see it.
Yeah, and not do nothing about it then. So the accountability should be one that towing truck company, because I heard a rumor real quickly that she didn't have a seatbelt on. Why is that even coming up compared to the gross negligence of the person who did the it's victim blaming,
and media and police, they love blaming African Americans. It's the same thing that we deal with in our healthcare system and everything. We get blamed for the negligence of corporations and businesses.
Yeah. Well, let me just turn our attention to this and just say a little bit about the sister. You mentioned she is a member of Delta Sigma Theta sorority. I believe she went to Delaware State University. Yes. Outstanding young lady in the community. Her mother is also an outstanding. I don't really know her father that well. And to live a life of really making it after coming through some of the hardships of life, it's kind of sad. And when I heard this story, it troubled me so greatly, because I know there are times when I'm driving and I see things and people and stuff happens, and being alert is very important. So one of the things I'm going to beg is that you keep the Nix family in your prayers, because this is a tragic loss. I mean, she was only 26, maybe
30.
She was 30 years old, very young, in the prime of her life. Was making some good contributions to society. And I know the services will be scheduled very, very shortly. To my understanding, I think, and don't hold me to this, those of you who are watching, but it's going to be the 24th, which is a Saturday, here at Zion Fair. But I want to make sure, I really want to make sure that we keep the family in prayer, number one. Number two, that we pray for our young people. We pray for the attack that's on them. To hear the first line item that we had on the show today about a 59-year-old woman who was found dead, and we got no more information on it. Even when we're looking at this situation, we're still trying to figure out when is the tow truck company going to be held accountable? The attack that is on the African-American community, the attack that's on our young people is really severe. And that's why I talked about we are so big on budgets. We're so big on buildings, but not big on humanity. But we will definitely keep the Nix family in prayer. And for those of you who knew her, knew that she was a great, kind, wonderful person who loved people, and she committed her career to serving people. So I just wanted to say that. Is there anything else you want to add to that?
Nothing else.
All right. So I just wanted to make sure I say that. I want to shift our attention to another story that happened in the city. And it was really interesting. A sinkhole under where one of the mail trucks and a resident vehicle almost went down in. And one of the reporting was that old infrastructure. But what do you know about that first? And then I'll get into my questions.
Yeah. So around 11:30 a.m., a truck, a mail truck, ended up falling into a sinkhole as the road caved out under it. This was in the 800 block of West 9th Street. Mm-hmm. And again, when they got there, they also saw flowing. When the fire department got there, they saw flowing water under there. Mm-hmm. Come to find out that over 100-year-old pipe had burst, which they're saying is caused that corrosion and everything like that, which led to the sinkhole. I'm glad that the mail carrier was not injured. Yeah. And we can replace a van. That's why they have insurance. I'm glad that the mail carrier was not hurt. But other vehicles were also around as well too. Mm-hmm. And there is video of some of the footage of the van being stuck and them trying to get it out.
As a matter of fact, if you could just stay right there for 1 second, and we're going to go to we're going to allow you to see the coverage that some of the stations in Philadelphia did of this situation.
They can drive through the rain, sleet, and snow, but a sinkhole was no match for a mail carrier on her normal route in Wilmington. The crater partially swallowed the mail van, and neighbors watched as it sunk further into the hole.
We're back, and I just wanted to make sure that you got an opportunity to see some of the coverage that happened of this episode. And you were sharing that, you can replace vehicles, but you can't replace people. You were very grateful that nobody was there. But what about the infrastructure of Wilmington? We're building a lot of new buildings, but what about the infrastructure?
Yeah, so that's where investment should be going on the infrastructure, getting new piping and everything like that. But, we're giving millions of dollars away to build new luxury apartments. Now, I will say, they did come out, the Marva came out to check the scene to see if any gas lines. At the time, there was no reported leaks to be detected and everything, so that's good. That road is still shut down right now and traffic's being diverted. But again, that is a huge concern in communities like that. Communities that have been long ignored, right? Communities, they're good. We don't need to fix that. We can fix that in another 20 years. We can put this money other places. We have bipartisan infrastructure money that's going to be coming into the city of Wilmington to fix bridges, to fix roads, stronger piping, sewers, and everything like that. We have to make sure that we're holding our elected officials accountable for actually getting that stuff done.
You say we will be, or we already have?
We have received some of the money, but we're going to be receiving even more money. So again, it'll probably be long after this next administration starts. We just got to make sure that they're doing the right thing with the money.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, this is a great example. This is almost an embarrassment, but some things you really can't control. Infrastructure is old, but we got to make sure that we're paying close attention to it because it could have been houses that sank. It could have been lives that was lost.
Yep.
And just so we were fortunate that it was a mail truck. Anyway, we were able to pull it out and it didn't really do much damage to the truck. I want to swing to a very positive note now, and that is this last week, Duffy's Hope, one of the pioneers of our community, he opened up a home for aged out foster care females. This is a community that nobody really ever look at. They're in the system, hid. Here's a good clip of his coverage of his opening.
Every night, unsheltered in Delaware, we have anywhere from 1,200 persons up to as high as 2,000.
This is an inspiration. It should be an inspiration to all of us.
We are building hope, we're building futures, and we're building confidence among some of the most vulnerable people in our state.
3, 2, 1.
So these are young ladies transitioning out of foster care at ages 18 to 23. We're looking to have them here for about a year, transition them back into, and so they can live independently on their own. I once was a kid in the community that didn't have any resources or any hope, and someone provided me hope and resources. So I wanted to continue doing that for other people in our community.
What my hope is for this is for each young woman that comes through those doors, that what we pour into her will come pouring out of her so that she will want to come back and help the next women in this program, that she just doesn't leave us behind, that she thinks highly enough of what we did for her to want to come back and do it for somebody else.
So that was a clip of his opening, but very few people really pay attention to foster care unless something bad happens in it. Once a child get a certain age, they on their own, and a lot of them end up being homeless and things of that nature. But before I go there, is there anything you want to share to that?
Yeah, so one, Delaware has a foster care issue that needs to be reformed. It fits. 22% of all kids who are experiencing homelessness was within our foster care system within some time, within a year, right? Okay. So that means they're either running away from where they're being placed, being kicked out, but I bet that check is still being collected. we have a huge need for foster care housing and placement for these kids. But then also on the back end, we need to also make sure that we're investing in their education, in their well-being, in their health. And, you know, we talked about infrastructure earlier. That is an infrastructure project, right?
Absolutely.
Building a strong, young, productive individual, that's infrastructure. That takes investment. And again, I'm so happy to see Duffy moving into that space. I know Duffy does a lot. He does a lot with the power as well, too. So again, you know, kudos to him. I don't think this is going to be the last house that they're going to be opening.
No, I'm sure this is this is going to be just his starter.
So, you know, I'm definitely looking forward to seeing more of these houses opened up here. And it's through a program that I think more people should be taking advantage of called Newcastle County's Vacant Spaces for Livable Places. So again, it's a program. Again, you know, we talked about blighted properties here in the city of Wilmington, and they just wanted to hand it all over to the land bank. This program takes it, and what it does is creates livable opportunities for people with the vacant properties and get people into these homes. And again, Newcastle County, they know they have over 700 vacant homes and lots that they can almost immediately turn in to occupied home, right? Some others, they have a lot more vacant properties and stuff, but they're not ready to be moved into just yet. So again, this is a multi-agency effort to address the vacant housing and repurposing of properties here in Newcastle County.
Yeah, and I give shout out to Duffy too, because I think that he's doing a very good job. He's always worked with young people and have done a phenomenal job with maintaining without the drama, and that's important to me when you're dealing with young people. Duffy is not an old man; he's a young brother, but he's seasoned, and he certainly opened this house. I don't know whether the pastor of East Iron Fair or the brother over at what's the name of that company you work for?
Metropolitan.
I don't know whether we need to do something for the brethren, because we do need something for the males who time out or come out of these foster housing as well, because that's needed as well. But I give hats off to Duffy. Great job. Wish you well. And I'm sure you're going to do well, because all the other projects you've had, you have really proven to be a successful person in those. The last thing for the day before we go to our break is DSU. Now, they started off very, very strong and they continue. They fell a little short the last 3 games by 2 points, 1 point, by 3 points, playing some of the best that's in the conference. I think still Stan is one of the best coaches we're going to find. I think that Del State is going to still do very well. There's a couple more games this weekend coming up, and I'm sure they'll do very well. I was watching the game, and one of the things that I think they're struggling a little bit is in the defense. Can't nobody break their press. Sometimes I think you need to keep that press on a little bit longer. But I just think whenever you lose your last 3 by 1, 2, or 3 points, it's an issue of a defense situation.
So, I mean, they're still in good standing, right? They're 10-13 right now. Top of the conference is Norfolk, who I said in North Carolina Central, who are sitting at 15-9 and 13-9 respectively. They're both 5-2 in the conference, and Del State is 3-4, right? So there is still time for them to come up. I know they have some games coming up this President's Weekend, President's Day weekend. But again, it's a very competitive division, and again, it's still very close, right? It's only 4 games separating them, so they still have time to come back and go ahead and win this division. And you know, again, if not this year, they're going to be even more prepared for next year.
Oh, yeah. I mean, he's already broke his record from last year. Yes. And I still stand firm, other than, you know, when Coach Jackson was there, in the last 20 years almost, there have not been a coach to bring this team back. He started with literally nothing. And he's really been able to do some phenomenal things. So, Coach Waterman, congratulations, and we wish you the very best. We'll be right back.
We need volunteers, we need mentors, and we need sponsorship. So please think about donating to Duffy's Hope. Go on our website, duffyshopeinc.org, and donate that way. You can call us at 302-652-3532. We can take your payment over the phone. You can mail us a check at 100 West 10th Street, Suite number 9, Wilmington, Delaware, 19801. Also, you can donate your time. If you don't have money, donate your time. Come help us with the garden. Help us mentor or help be a tutor, things like that. So please think about donating to Duffy's Hope.
Hello, I'm Marcus Henry, and I'm running for Newcastle County Executive. I spent over 20 years working in state and local government, trying to bring the good programs and services you deserve here in Newcastle County. Please support my campaign. Please look us up at marcushenryde.com for further information. I look forward to meeting you all over the next year, and I look forward to your support. Thank you.
Hello, I'm Jamal Womack. I'm the director of Olympus Academy here in Wilmington, Delaware, and we just wanted to let you know we are here. If you're interested in learning about basketball, if you're interested in getting better in basketball, if you're interested in finding a school that puts all of that together, the academics, the basketball portion, and if you're not local, you can actually stay on campus with a staff that's committed to making sure you're safe, making sure that everything operates in a function to progress your career and your academics. We are the school for you. We are growing. We're gonna go so high in a limited amount of time with your help. We can't do it alone. So if you heard what I just said and you believe that Olympus Academy is the right place for someone you may know, whether it's your son, whether it's your nephew, whether it's your grandson, please contact me. You can reach me at my personal email, which is jmack03@icloud.com, or my work number, which is 718-483-0290.
Hello, my name is Eugene Young. I'm incredibly thankful to be here. I am a candidate for U.S. Congress, and I believe when it comes to Congress, it comes to service. One of my favorite lines about service is you can't lead without loving, you can't save without service. So what's the depth of your love, or what's the quality of your service? So this aspect of love and service is what brings me here before you today, and wanting to take that and extend that into Congress as we move forward. I look at my last 20 years of serving the community, and I look forward to having another 20 and being able to find more ways to even better serve the community, which has given me so much. So please feel free to join us at eugeneyoung.com. That's EUGENEYOUNG.com. That's eugeneyoung.com. If you're interested in volunteering or donating, it could be $5 a month, it could be $100 a month, it could just be a standard donation of $10. We appreciate it all. Thank you so very much, and wishing you a wonderful, beautiful day.
And we're back. Well, what's going on with Kobe's Corner today?
Yeah, so one, I talked about the upcoming referendums, and we had our first one in the area, which was Brandywine School District. And I'm happy to report that almost 10,000 people voted in it. That's a huge number. 9,408 individuals to be exact. 7,122 of them cast their vote in favor of the referendum, and 2,223 cast their vote against the referendum.
Now tell me a little bit about the referendum. The reason why I'm asking you that is because many of my members have called me and said, what should we do? I said, you definitely need to vote for it.
Yes.
But that's just for those who watch it.
So this was the Brandywine School District's first operating referendum that they've had since 2016. And again, operating is school expenses, programs, sports program, extracurricular activities for the kids as well, to bringing them up to the cost of what it costs to run those programs today. Again, almost 8 years, well, a little over 8 years of operating on the same level of from 2016 is very hard for a school district, but they made it work. And one thing that I really like about the Brandywine School District is the fact that they are very, very conservative with their money, and they have made it work. But again, these kids deserve the best, right? And we know with troubling times that we've been through, sports and extracurricular activities are so important, especially to their mental health and
Absolutely.
their progress to achieve, but also the other programs, the wraparound programs that help within the schools are important as well too. So I'm glad to see this one pass. There's two different forms of referendums. There's operating ones, and then there's also capital ones. That's to build a new school, to build a parking lot, or a football field, or whatever they may be building. Those people usually get confused because they usually schedule both in the same year. Operating goes first, and people get confused, and they're like, oh, all right, I'm gonna vote for it. Then they learn what the operating's for, and then they vote for the capital one, thinking it's the same one back up again sometimes. So I'm glad to see this one pass, and pass overwhelmingly.
Yes.
With support. I think it won at every single voting location. It won overwhelmingly.
Good.
Next, I want to talk about, again, talking about these schools and everything, the DIAA, which oversees Delaware high schools athletics, right, is going to be considering if student athletes can receive money or deals for the use of their name, their image, or their likeliness. It's through NIL deals. Is something, it's been a hot topic pretty much since it was passed in 2019 out in California, and then through college sports as well too. You're now seeing a lot of college athletes who may not get an opportunity to make a lot of money on a professional level, but they are very good at their sport right now. This has helped women's sports as well too. One of the biggest NIL deals goes to LSU's, they call her the Bayou Barbie, Angel Reese, who is an amazing basketball player, has always been an amazing basketball player from Baltimore, but she is now not only getting paid for her talents, but also still winning for the school. As a former student athlete who's long retired, they are considered amateurs, right? And they could not accept, we couldn't accept money, right? Or you get fined, you get banned and stuff like that. But I know how much money on the back end, now that I'm older, now that I get to look at budgets and everything, I know how much money these programs bring in for the school. Right. Yes, it is needed for some schools, but you are making hundreds of thousands of dollars off the backs of your students. Me personally, I feel as though the students, who are also probably struggling as well too, should be able to get some money in this as well too.
Because if you get hurt while competing, your career is over.
Right.
So I think while a person is active and doing well, they should. So I'm very much I was for the college level, glad that it's gotten there, and I'm for it here as well.
Right. And again, I just want to point out, NIL does not allow for you to be directly paid for playing on the field, right? You're not getting a paycheck for playing like they do in the NFL or NBA. Okay. You're getting you can now accept a paycheck. Think of it as like a spokesperson, right? For if you're a spokesperson for a brand, for if you go on a podcast or blogging, or if you host camps or make autographs or merchandise and stuff like that, you can now be paid for that stuff, right? And again, you have all different types of things that you're going to see in this, but again, this is going to be critical to help a lot of these star athletes who struggle now and get taken advantage of by college recruiters who throw a little money their way, but then fall through on their deals.
Yeah, right. Okay.
Next, I want to talk about the House has impeached our Secretary of Homeland Security. Again, this was a move that failed just the other day, but again, they came back and voted on it, and it passed by a very slim margin. But again, one vote, yeah. Again, they impeached him because of this quote unquote border crisis, right? Our border agents cannot get to the border right now because you have states, National Guards who are blocking the way, putting up barbed wire fences and everything. They're upset because of how many people have been detained at the border under the Biden administration versus under the Trump administration. But again, I just want to be very, very clear. The U.S.-Mexico border, yes, you have a lot of people who come there seeking refuge in America. They're seeking refuge based off our base or our past foreign policy decisions that we've made that has destabilized countries in South America, in Central America. We have assassinated duly elected leaders because they did not have the best interests of America in their interests, right? They cared about their own country and not America.
Right.
The vast majority of undocumented individuals in this country are from Europe.
Right.
They overstay their visas, Europe and Asia. But that's not who's being targeted. The people who are coming from the Mexico border, the U.S.-Mexico border, they are darker. They have brown skin. They have black skin. And that's who they don't want in this country right now, especially in Texas. Texas is now, if you're Caucasian, you're in the minority in Texas.
That could be it.
They do not like that.
Wow.
There was a very vocal rally that spoke about taking back the majority in Texas. That was led by a white supremacist, which is sad because in 2024, we're still dealing with things that we heard back in 1960 and 1850 and 1776, right? So again, we still have a lot of work to do. I'm glad that the Senate's border package, their border bill, failed because it was anti-minority immigrant.
That's an interesting debate.
But again, if we don't want to have this issue, then we need to stay out of the business of other countries and destabilizing other countries, because now we have created huge issues in which you have the military fighting against each other, insurgents fighting against each other for control because we've taken out their government.
Yeah, but what do you do with the fact that, and I agree, the southern and the northern borders are a problem or an issue. We only focus on the southern, but what do you do with all of the illegal immigration that is coming in? New York is now over flooded, and this is strategically done by Abbott. You know, he wanted to make sure that the people in New York and the Democratic blue cities really felt it, so that when election time come, they could be angry and not vote for their the Democratic candidates. So what do you do though? What do you do at that point?
So there are services that I think we need to be expanding right now. Rapid rehousing, immigration legal services and stuff like that to help get people through the process. At the end of the day, we have enough housing sitting in New York right now where people can be housed.
Really?
A lot of people are moving out of New York right now because of the prices, right? You have landlords who are skyrocketing with their rent and everything. There's a ton of vacant property in New York, in all these cities, right? All these major cities where you're seeing everything pop up. We're losing storefronts after storefronts after storefronts that can be repurposed into living spaces right now. I think that's where our focus should be, not building more luxury apartments. And I'm not just saying that because we're in Wilmington and that's all they seem to care about, even though that's all they seem to care about. I'm saying that across the board, right? You look at cities like Miami, right? That Miami, black and brown neighborhoods, they're using eminent domain, something that Namdi Chukwuka and Mayor Pazicki pushed for here. They said they were only going to go after blighted areas. Well, within 3 years of using their eminent domain, not only are they going after everyday paying taxpayers who are just citizens who they're hardworking, live paycheck to paycheck, but making bills, they're taking their properties and turning it into luxury homes, luxury high rises, and skyscrapers. This is what we're fighting back against. So again, if we don't, quote unquote, want our streets over flooded, then again, it starts with our foreign policy, and we need to get better on it.
Okay. And not be discriminative towards
Correct.
one particular group. And that's why when you said that, I do think we need to find a way to deal with it. But my suggestion is this: we need more immigration judges to be able to give people appropriately whether or not they should get the asylum that they're seeking. We need to be able to make sure we can house them, because honestly, I believe that a lot of the people who are trying to get into America is because America is a land of opportunity. And the way the workforce is now, where we need workers,
Yes.
we need, people to be here to help us, especially in the farm area, but we need them in all facets. I'll leave it there, but I just wanted to say that.
I agree with you. And then the last part that I wanted to talk about is, again, back home, right? So the month of February is JFC hearing month down in Dover, which means each department programs come in, and the Joint Finance Committee questions them and kind of reviews their budget requests for the upcoming year. So the FY fiscal year 2025. So I wanted to talk about DOE. So one, Governor Carney is recommended $2.1 billion to be allocated to the DOE. Now that is pretty much on par to what they get annually, with a $3 million investment into early literacy coaches, right? Maybe I need one.
No, this is not issue.
But in state assessment, in the 2023 Department of Education and State Assessment, only 40% of students in grade 3 to 8 scored at or above proficient in English language arts.
That came up in my sermon a couple of weeks ago.
That is horrible.
It's egregious.
2% down from 2022. So we're getting worse.
Right. That's right.
We already battle with Mississippi and Louisiana for who's number 47, 48, and 46 in education. You have Louisiana, Mississippi, Delaware, Arkansas, and Alabama. Did I say Alabama?
No.
Alabama, Mississippi, Louisiana, Delaware, and Arkansas. Right. We are the bottom of the bottom in the states, in the United States of America when it comes to education. And it's time that we fix it here in Delaware. If you notice, all those states had long histories of being discriminatory.
Right.
Delaware was in the north. Thought they were in a Confederate, especially if you go downstate in some places. But again, we rank lower than a lot of other states. And again, the National Assessment of Educational Progress, only 25% of the students performed at or above their proficiency level, a 8% decrease since 2019. So again, in 2024, we will be electing a new governor. This new governor will have power over our education system. We cannot keep going down. We need to turn this system around. We need to invest in our kids, in our infrastructure, our youth infrastructure, and get some things done on this level. Kim Williams, who is the chair of both the Joint Finance Committee on the House side, and she's the House Education Chair. I know she is raising a lot of concerns about the overall bill. But again, a lot of this stuff, we cannot just base it off resources. We need to look at each individual student and see how we can best serve them as a state, especially if you want to raise our taxes.
Yeah, but one of the things I think, and I'm going to say this, one of the good things about Matt Myers is that he taught in the school system. It's very difficult to be able to really understand the plight of education if you've never been a part of it. I remember the Secretary of Education under Trump. She never taught. She never was a part of a school system. She was just lost.
She owned school.
And because of money.
Yes.
Whereas I believe, that Matt being teaching especially in a minority school, And he did some other things too. But I think that really will land him to be able to understand that there's a true need. There's a true need now. Now, I just try to be fair when I'm talking about any of these politicians, but I do believe him being in the classroom will help us, because we're in a situation now in Delaware where it looks like we may be at the bottom.
Yeah.
Not just the bottom 5, but at the bottom. And we really need to find a person who can lead and say, you know what, my priority is going to be education. My priority is to bring people out of poverty through education. That's what I believe. And that's where I stand.
Another issue that was raised was special education.
Yeah.
Right. So again, this is the use of IEPs and everything included into this. Again, it requires a smaller teacher to student to teacher ratio, creating the need for more units than a regular classroom. So again, 1 unit for preschool, right? 1 unit for every 8.4 students. Don't ask me how it's a point in any of these. K-3 is 1 unit for 16.2 students. 4 to 12 regular education, it's 1 to 20. K-12 basic special education, 1 to 8.4. K-12 complex special education, it's 1 to 2.6. So again, we have a lot of work to do. We have a teacher shortage right now, right? So we need to be partnering with in-house early learning education programs at these universities, at UD, at Del State, at Wilmington, to get people in the classrooms, right? And as a city, as a state also, let's make it easier on them to attract more teachers, right? Other states, what they've done, they've offered down payment assistance for owning a house, right? They pay the full down payment for individuals who are going into the teaching realm, and all they require is that you live in the house for 5 to 10 years while you teach, right? They giving tax credits to teachers to help them save. Student loan forgiveness, right? If we can give a 15-year tax abatement to Bacini Pollen, who brings in billions of dollars, I'm going to keep bringing this back.
I see.
We can give it to a teacher who's trying to educate our students.
I agree. Yes.
Right? If we can give it to people who are developing Milford and building strip malls down there, while over in Seaford, you have hotels that sit vacant while homeless people have to sleep on the outside of them. But if they break in and try to sleep in one of the rooms during the cold, they get arrested and thrown in jail. We can invest in this as well, too.
Yeah. I agree.
So again, we just have to change how we are as a culture.
Right.
And do more for our community, do more for our neighbors.
Right. Well, that's why I made the comment. We're big on budgets and buildings, but not on really building families and lives and humanity. The last thing I wanted to make sure that you address, because I know you are a national political person too, is that the election last week, we won that seat. When I say we, I'm a Democrat, registered Democrat. What does that mean?
Yeah. So one, it's kind of an outlier, right? So the New York 3 special election to replace George Santos, the former Congressman Tom Sazia, who actually ran for he gave up the seat when he ran for governor, challenged Hochul, lost. Right. He won his old seat back. It was a lot of money spent in that, about $15 million on the Democratic side, about $12 million on the Republican side to try to hold that seat. Both of them were saying, it's good for their size. The Republicans are saying, they had to spend so much money for a district that Biden won by 8, but a Republican was holding this seat already. It's a conservative district. It is not an outlier of what America looks like. So yes, while this was a Democratic win, that Queens vote, he overperformed, which was good. That's a good showing, but that Long Island vote was about on par to what it usually is, right? You did see more engagement, right? So you have more people, even though it's a smaller number, a higher percentage came out in that Queens area, which shows that people are fired up to come vote, right? Okay. That's the area that I would highlight in this, which shows good for Democrats, right? Especially in New York. But again, I think some of the other ones that you're gonna want to keep an eye on is actually in California for former Speaker McCarthy's seat, who has resigned at the end of December.
I was going to ask you that a couple of weeks ago. Why did he resign? Is they really giving it to him that bad?
He got to a point where he couldn't believe how they voted him out as Speaker, but then allowed this new Speaker to cut the same deal that he had done. Right. So it all came to one person just not liking him. And he was able to convince some of his friends in Congress to also vote that way as well too. Wow. Again, so McCarthy seat, that election's not until May 21st. And that's when you're really going to see how big of a sway is. That's a Republican district, right? But if it sways towards the Democrats, you'll be able to see just it's a R plus 16. If it sways anywhere, I say within 5 points towards Democrats, that's a very bad night for Republicans. Wow. If the Republicans open that up a little bit more, that's a better indicator for the Republicans going into 2024.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. And as we move forward and get closer, we're going to see how things are going to turn out. Well, when I saw it, I said, okay, we got another seat. Now they only have one. They can afford to lose one vote now. And Donald Trump has a strong hold on the Republican Party.
Oh, yes.
I mean, he speaks and it's like a bomb has been dropped. For the judges, the lawyers, the people who are educated, the people who are non-educated, to support him to the level they do, it's beyond a cult.
They like money.
Oh.
They like money, and they know if you go against Donald Trump, he controls the money of the party right now. Unfortunately, the vast majority of the money of the party. You're seeing this in a lot of the Senate races, where you have senators who have spoken out against him because they have 6 years terms, not run again. This is why you see someone who used to be the face of the Republican Party, Mitt Romney, step away. You used to have the Bush family as the golden children of the Republican Party have stepped away. And now none of them are in office. McConnell is weaker than he has ever been. And again, I'm not a fan of his policies, but procedurally, he is one of the most powerful party leaders that we have ever seen in this nation's history. Wish he used some of that power for good, but again, he has very little power to stop Trump right now. It is almost mind-blowing how quick and how deep these roots Trump has been able to build in a party that he does not even have their best interests in.
You got that right.
They used to be the law and order, family matters, party, and now the head of their party got 3 different baby mamas. He's been twice impeached, 91. Multiple times indicted, almost 100 times indicted. Tried to steal an election, a thief. He sexually assaulted people. Yeah. This is the head of their party, and they are cool with it. This is who they like, and because he tells it how it is. He's like the average person that you'll meet at the bar and just says what's on his mind. Yeah, and he has a lot of baggage.
Yeah, and that's one of the reasons why. And we're going to go to very close, but one of the reasons why I was saying that I really hope people vote, because right now we're in a very bad quandary, and I don't want to see our country go all the way in. Last poll that came out in Michigan, he's behind.
Yeah.
But about Biden.
Yes.
Biden's behind, and what's happening is Trump people are going to vote. They're going to vote. When the more you hear people sit and say, I'm going to sit this out, I'm going to be on the couch, the worse it's going to be for our country. And then they're going to cry, why don't we have this? What Donald and everything he says he's going to do, he's going to do. And it's not figuratively speaking. He's going to do it. So I don't know. Anything else from you today?
That's all I got today.
Well, I want you to stay tuned, because immediately following this segment, segment, we're going to have another tribute. For the last 2 weeks, we've been having tributes. We had first start off with the Black Church. We did a tribute to the Black Church. Then we did a tribute to HBCUs last week. A couple of you shared with me you really enjoyed that. Well, now we have one a tribute to Black excellence. So I hope you will enjoy this. And until the next time we get together, see ya.
Take care, y'all.
Precious Lord, take my hand, lead me on, let me stand.
We are asked, who defines Black excellence in America? From the halls of Congress to the silver screen, from literary giants to groundbreaking inventions, the story of African excellence in America is woven with courage, resilience, and monumental achievements. Let's journey through the lives of extraordinary individuals who reshaped history and redefined what it means to excel. Shirley Chisholm, a beacon of hope during racial turbulent times, shattered barriers as the first Black woman elected to Congress. Her unwavering spirit and groundbreaking presidential election paved the way for future generations.
I would remind all Americans at this hour of the words of Abraham Lincoln, "A house divided cannot stand."
Walter Mosley, through his gripping crime fiction, not only entertained, but also shed light on the African American experience. His recognition by the National Book Foundation marked a historic moment in literary achievement.
The novel is creating a whole new mode of understanding the world. Over the last 30 years of being a novelist, I've learned how that's worked, and I've made a commitment to it. And I would love to talk to you about that commitment.
James Baldwin, with his razor-sharp prose and unyielding activism, challenged societal norms and championed the cause of equality. His words continue to resonate, urging us to define ourselves on our own terms.
And the word Negro in this country really is designed finally to disguise the fact that when it's talking about another man, a man like you, who wants what you want. And insofar as the American Republic wants to think there has been progress, they overlook one very simple thing. I don't want to be given anything by you.
Katherine Johnson, the hidden figure behind America's space exploration, proved that brilliance knows no bounds. Her contributions to NASA defy gravity and inspire generations to reach for the stars.
I'm going to show you where I lived and what trouble I got into.
What kind of trouble did you get into?
Can't tell it. Can't tell it.
Gwendolyn Brooks, a poetic force from Chicago's South Side, broke barriers and captured hearts with her Pulitzer Prize-winning verses. Her legacy as a mentor and wordsmith endures, inspiring countless poets to find their voice.
You would have an honor in terms of winning the Pulitzer, and you won it when I think you were 33, which is, I guess, as a writer, would be very young in terms of winning that type of award. Was there any sort of jealousy from some of your peers in terms of, here it is, all of a sudden you win the Pulitzer Prize at 33?
32.
32, okay.
If there was, they didn't tell me. And I was too excited and happy to be looking for any such evidence.
Sidney Poitier, not just a legendary actor, but a trailblazer who refused to accept roles that demean his people. His commitment to dignity and representation echoes through Hollywood's halls.
I accept this award in memory of all the African American actors and actresses who went before me in the difficult years, on whose shoulders I was privileged to stand to see where I might go.
Mary McLeod Bethune, a titan of education and civil rights, built institutions of learning where hope flourished. Her indomitable spirit and unwavering faith continue to uplift communities across America.
When Mary McLeod Bethune started the school for girls in 1904 with $1.50 and 5 students, it would have been hard for her to imagine what it would become. Today, Bethune-Cookman University sits on 85 acres in Daytona Beach, boasting an endowment of nearly $50 million.
Oprah Winfrey, a symbol of resilience and success, transformed her trauma into triumph on the world stage. Her journey and adversity to influence inspires millions to dream big and never give up.
Oprah Winfrey is a powerhouse and media icon, hosting The Oprah Winfrey Show for 25 years and interviewing more than 37,000 people during the show's run. She is one of the most influential and famous people in the world.
John Standard. With his revolutionary invention reshaped modern living and brought comfort to countless homes worldwide. His legacy is a testament to the power of invention and ingenuity. Assata Shakur, a fearless activist who fought against injustice, embodies the spirit of resistance and resilience. Her courage in the face of adversity serves as a beacon for those fighting for freedom and equality.
Chesimard, or Assata Shakur, insisted she had killed no one and was railroaded by an all-white jury and by what she called racist New Jersey state troopers.
Did you shoot Werner Foster?
No, I did not. I was shot with my arms in the air, then shot again in the back, and then left on the ground to die.
Carter G. Woodson, the father of Black history, dedicated his life to ensure that the world remembered the contributions of African Americans. His legacy lives on in Black History Month, a celebration of resilience and triumph. Angela Davis, a trailblazer in academia and activism, fearlessly confronts issues of race, gender, and class. Her intellectual prowess and unwavering commitment to justice inspire generations to challenge the status quo.
And of course, in my own case, where I was represented by the FBI as being armed and dangerous.
The FBI has put black militant Angela Davis on its list of the 10 most wanted fugitives.
With Angela Davis, the power of the black intellect.
One of the things that we really have to talk about coming to grips with is the whole question of crime. What does it mean to be a criminal in this society?
The Little Rock Nine. Young pioneers who stood against hatred and bigotry to claim their right to education embody the strength of the human spirit. Their bravery serves as a reminder that change begins with courage and conviction.
I will not force my people to integrate against their will.
The governor of the state, Orville Forbes, decided that he was going to use Central as his point of resistance. None of us of the 9 anticipated that the resistance would be as strong as it was. The night before we were to go to school, the governor called out the Arkansas National Guard, unbeknownst to us. And when we appeared at Central the first day, sealed off, the National Guard was there to bar our entrance and let white students go into the school.
President Eisenhower sends 500 troops of the 101st Airborne Division of the United States Army.
It was a terrific feeling that President of the United States would send troops to escort us into school. I didn't know what was going to happen after that. It was like going to war every day.
African excellence in America is a tapestry woven with the threads of innovation, courage, and resilience. From the halls of power to the streets of every city, the contributions of African Americans enrich the fabric of our nation. Together, we celebrate the achievements and honor their enduring legacy. God bless the land of Africa.